Oh, so I see so far we got Scott Free and Rare Breeds in the house. Good to see you guys. Welcome in. Uh, I'll give it a minute for in case let a few people join in and give them a couple of minutes. And my phone is probably going to die that I'm using to see chat with. Another phone up there on the charger, using it to to stream with. But for you guys that are here right now, um, y'all might be in for a treat. I don't know if I can get through this one without getting very animated and all loud and crazy and stuff. This might be one of them streams. All right, we've got sound and I just got notified on this account that we went live, so notifications should be going out. This is going to be a study from MIT, and I'll say this again, but I'll say it now for the people that watch it as a video later. The I made an archive link for this video, for this not for this video, for this article. It was one of those you had to sign up for to get into the place, the MIT deal. So if you go and you take an article that takes a sign up, go make an archive link, then view the archive link, and it usually gives you the whole article. That worked for this one. So the web archive link is linked in the description. My new Rumble account is linked in the description. The only way I knew how to do it was to put a link to the first video. And also, the GoFundMe for Mike and Shelly Morales is listed in the description as well. I've uploaded a couple of videos this week, and I really can't remember the name of them right now. One of them is the history of United States of the World Reserve currency from 1450 to present. And the other one was something else that leaves my mind right now. But there have been a couple of videos uploaded if y'all want to go check those out. And there's one video uploaded to Rumble. If you'd like to go follow on Rumble, that would be awesome. That is where I plan on doing live streams in the future that don't get smashed like they do on YouTube. Now, let me be clear. I'm under no... I'm under... I know that it's all monitored, it's all watched, it's all compromised, but they right now let you say things on Rumble that they won't let you say on YouTube. So I will be streaming to YouTube and Rumble and uploading videos at both. And if I get a computer, I will probably do some streams at DLive just because they're a little more fun. I guess I haven't done it in so long they may not be fun anymore. So, however that goes, this stream's liable to get a little animated because, well, we'll just get into that in a minute. Let's see what we got here. Betty R, SCDHL, Kirk Molo, Sandy L. Ross, Mimi, J Hart, Goddess, all of y'all, welcome in. Love all you guys. Glad to see you. And, well, without further ado, I'm going to get started here. I have found this way for me to stream right now using a couple of telephones, my camera that I film airplanes with, and a television. And I'm using the camera. I took pictures of the article and I put it up on my television here, and I can see it fairly well with just one pair of reading glasses. Denise, good to see you. Greetings. SCDHL, greetings. Dog named Boo, good to see you. Welcome in, everybody. Love all you guys. Appreciate you being here. I know this was spontaneous and kind of didn't have a whole lot of insight, but I see we're going to need to do this more than once a week. And quite frankly, I need to do it more than once a week to get back into the swing of things and it become kind of more normal for me. I would like for it to become way normal again. Tom, ahoy there, matey. Good to see you, brother. All right. Now, so like I said, the link for this is all in the description, and it is an archive link, so you won't have to go through a paywall or a subscription service. MIT's weekly thing does have a subscription, so here we go. This come out on March 31st, 2023, and in my opinion, it's maybe, I don't know, it's a little late by maybe 30 years. Maybe 30, maybe 40, I don't know. Just a little bit. But anyway, here's what they have to say. We're inhaling, eating, and drinking toxic chemicals. Now we need to figure out how they're affecting us. Yeah, this is going to be one of them, I believe. This is one of them that I might get fired up a little bit, and I might get a little loud, so maybe the fact that I don't have a good microphone at this point in time will be a good thing. Oh, man. High High-profile chemical leaks highlight how important it is to measure the impact of everyday exposure to toxic substances. Exposomics is on the case. Really? It took high-profile chemical leaks for you to decide maybe we need to figure out how pollution is affecting us. You got to love the scientists. You just got to love the scientists. They are on top of things like nobody's business. We've been inhaling, eating, and drinking toxic chemicals since the 1940s. But hey, it's March 31st, 2023. Why don't we try to get a handle on that? Good job, guys. Good job. Oh, now, let's see if I can continue this. Get started a little bit. It starts out here. What are chemical pollutants doing to our bodies? It's a question that's been on my mind this week for a few reasons. Really? Just this week? I don't know how old you are, but if you're old enough to see things going on and maybe look up at the sky, you might ought to say, hey, we ought to see what this is doing to us. More on that later at the end of this story. Y'all will find that very interesting. Last week, people in Philadelphia cleared grocery shelves of bottled water after a toxic leak from a chemical plant spilled into a tributary of the Delaware River, a source of drinking water for 14 million people. And it was only last month that a train carrying a suite of other hazardous materials derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. You know, right after they made a movie about a train derailing and dropping toxic chemicals in East Palestine, Ohio. The people, literally, that are dealing with this were extras in the movie, unleashing an unknown quantity of toxic chemicals into the environment. Yeah, and I just seen in the news today, I don't have a link for this, I just seen it today, that the EPA is going, hey, we never said that controlled burn was a good idea. That's all on Norfolk Southern. We don't think that was even a good thing to do. And Norfolk Southern's going, hey, the EPA told us we could do it. We'll all forget about it soon and it won't be anything to it. Oh my goodness gracious. And this is just a start. If you go back over the news in the last few weeks, we've got chemical plants exploding, oil refineries exploding, food plants exploding, lightning hit a natural gas something not but about 3 hours from here in Mississippi, caused a great explosion. Just harmful toxic chemicals, and really it's all around the world. It's not just in our country. It's happening everywhere. It seems that, you know, I'm not on board. I'm not getting on board with everybody going, oh, we have a massive number of train derailments. I know people that work for the train companies. The number of train derailments is not the factor that should be looked at right now. Normally, the number of train derailments that we have don't all include so many toxic chemicals and the way that it's handled afterwards. Even some people I know that have retired from the train, from railroad, have said, you know, there's a lot of things that look kind of goofy here, and they're not even part of our community. They're what we would call normies. So yeah. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah. There we go. Okay, there we go. Janine, good to see you. Sandy, everybody coming in. Pat Evans. Oh yeah, we're going to get to that plastic debris and water bottles too. It's actually in this story, believe it or not. This story's actually pretty open. They're telling a lot of things. They're just way behind on the time. Next page. It says, right here on this page, how about that? Early this week, I spoke to scientists about the potential impacts of microplastic pollution too. A research team examining seabirds that have accidentally eaten plastic found that their gut microbiomes seem to have been transformed. I took our prayer request list that I scribbled so fast last week, and I went back through it, and I went back through the chat, and I found the ones that I missed, and I found the ones, and I got some of them corrected that I messed up. Apologies for that. I couldn't write that fast, but we know the Father's seen them, and we're going to continue to do that tonight, but I'll tell you about that later. And I noticed that there's quite a bit of things on here that involve the gut microbiome. And like that said there, the plastic water bottles, things of that nature. Do y'all know that according to the scientists, we actually consume what would be the equivalent of a credit card every month in microplastics? Well, the seabirds that have accidentally eaten plastic have found that their gut microbiome seem to have been transformed. Birds with more plastic in their guts also have more potentially harmful bacteria, including antibiotic resistant bugs, as well as others that can break down plastic. I'm going to say that probably should say can't, but I can't say that for sure because I didn't write it and I don't know, but it just seems like, or maybe it's bugs, I don't know. But it's stuff in there that probably shouldn't be there. That's what they're getting at. Scientists don't yet know what microplastics are doing to humans. Wonder why? Well, we didn't study it because if we'd have studied it and found out it was bad, we would have had to shut down a whole petrochemical industry that makes billions of dollars. Nobody's going to lobby for that in Washington. They're going to lobby to keep it going. And hey, let us do our own testing. We'll tell you how safe and effective it is, like the cell phone companies that do the testing on how much the radiation affects you. Many of videos on this channel about that if you want to go back. And I'll tell you more about that later too, because some of those may disappear soon. Scientists don't yet know what microplastics are doing to humans. Given that they've been found in human blood, placentas, and feces, it's a pressing question. Once again, 30 to 40 years too late. Duh, there's no doubt that we are polluting the planet. Really? Well, when us truthers tell you that you're polluting the planet in the same ways that you're saying, you go, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. Your doctor will tell you if you're sick or not. I really trust my doctor who's sponsored by the big pharma companies. You know, all backed by Rockefeller, AMA, APA, all of that type of stuff. Yeah, sure, let's trust them with our health. Same people on them boards create the food, then they create the media to push it at you. In order to find out how these pollutants might be affecting our own bodies, we need to work out how we're exposed to them. Really? Which chemicals are we inhaling? I don't know, aluminum, barium, strontium, chromium, manganese, magnesium, sulfur, airplane pollution. Eating? Oh man, what kind of crap is in our food? Try to read the back of a food label. If you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't eat it. But I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of us are in a situation right now. I have 2 children, a wife, animals that we do our best to take care of. We live with our mother-in-law right now. It's closer to the school that we wanted to put our children in. So yeah, I don't even know what my house looks like right now. I haven't seen it in a year and a half. Really, I haven't seen my house in a year and a half. And inhaling, eating, and digesting. And that don't even start with the water. Oh my gosh. You know, fluoride, all the other toxic things that are in the water. Filter your water, people. Filter your water. And how much enter the fields of exposomics? You know, a whole new field designed to figure out, hey, how's this stuff affecting humans? Maybe we should have did this a long time ago. Hey, it was first coined a couple of decades ago. Really? Well, how come this is so late? No, here's the point. They know what it's doing to humans. They're just now starting to ease this out into the public because I think they've gotten to a point to where, hey, there's a bunch of these crazy folks out there on YouTube that are construction workers and painters and kart racers and rappers and other stuff that are figuring this out. And if we don't get behind it, they're going to get ahead of us. That's what's going on, in my opinion. My opinion, YouTube, my opinion. I'm not a professional on anything. The idea is that we should capture all the things we are exposed to that might affect our health. It's what we've been screaming for years, whether we encounter them in our diets or in our environment. We already know that our genomes help determine our risk of various diseases, but that's only part of the story. The exposome should help fill the gaps. As you might expect, this is a huge field that covers everything from the effect of a pregnant person's diet on a fetus. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. To the impact of structural racism on people's health. Let me tell y'all something. The best quote I ever heard came from Morgan Freeman on racism. And yeah, he's a born Mississippi boy. So maybe that's why he gets it, because we don't have the problems here that people think we have in Mississippi. Maybe in the larger cities, metropolitan urban areas, I don't know them out there, but in the rural area, we don't have that. And you know what he said? They said, how do we stop racism? He said, stop talking about it. And I'm sure at some point in the future he's changed his tone, but he was dead right when he said it that time. I'm sure somebody got a hold of him and said, hey, we pay you too much money to do that. We need that division. You get on in there, Morgan. Get on in there and make it happen. As you might expect, this is a huge field that covers everything from the effect of a pregnant person's diet on a fetus to the impact of structural racism on people's health. But let's focus on one of the trickier areas of study, understanding our exposure to pollutants. That's the tricky part, really. You want to find out how structural racism is causing problems in the human biome with pollution. But let's look at pollutants because that's the harder one to do. Banging my head. I can't deal with that. Okay. Excuse me. I'm going to have to find me a bottle of water and get my daily dose of microplastics. I used to have, I see it. I got to get that down and start using it again. When I was streaming, I had a little aluminum thing that some awesome people sent to me with a filter in it. And I put my water in there and I would drink out of that. I got to get that going again. Carmen Marcet is one of the scientists trying to work out how to measure our exposure to chemicals and what they might be doing to us. Marcet is a molecular epidemiologist and directs the Hercules Exposome Research Center, or HERC, at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. The most detailed and accurate tests look for traces of chemicals and their breakdown products in blood. Really? Ever since I was a child in the 1980s, I've been having my blood tested to see if I was sick, to see what this might be. And, they were pretty good at determining that. And now I don't do that to my children as much anymore because we can determine that by reading journals, by reading what you doctors write to each other. Yeah. Once a chemical gets into your body, it doesn't stay in its original form for very long. How about that? It might get broken down by enzymes in your liver, because who doesn't want pollutants in their liver? Or acids in your stomach, for example. Scientists have learned which breakdown products to look for to estimate a person's exposure to lots of chemicals, but not all of them. Because, why not? We've had other things to worry about, like, I don't know. Let's see if we can get a cure for this thing that never was quantified. Yeah, the common cold that destroyed the world. Gonna leave that right there. When factories release chemicals into the environment, they're going to transform, says Marcet. The chemicals might react with bacteria or fish in water, for example. Or they might react with sunlight or with other chemicals in the air. Barium, strontium, chromium, aluminum, blah, blah, blah. Especially if they are burned. You mean like polyvinyl chloride? That the EPA says, no, we didn't do that. These reactions will produce new chemicals. They absolutely will. To test your exposure to different chemicals, scientists only need a tiny amount of blood, around 100 to 200 microliters. That small sample can be run through a couple of lab tests. Techniques like gas chromatography, liquid chromatography, and mass spectrometry work to separate individual chemicals and metabolites from a blood sample and identify them by weight. These tests can provide a pretty detailed list of chemicals you might have been exposed to, says Marcet. Today, researchers can check your exposure to potentially thousands of chemicals in one test. Because you're being exposed to potentially thousands of chemicals. These kind of tests aren't available to the public yet. I bet they're available to the rich elite, though, and your politicians and all that. I bet they've been getting them for years. That's why they don't worry about this stuff like you do, because they are protected. But they are being honed in multiple labs, and researchers are working on ways to test for even more chemicals. That's especially important because new chemicals are being developed all the time, and companies don't usually need to put them through rigorous safety tests before they start using them, says Marcet. That's because of money. They're coming on the market almost every day, he says, and we need to understand what they are and what's being released before we can even measure them. But the government makes them turn out MSDS sheets. They make them do all of this type of stuff before they will actually approve you using it. They just won't find out exactly what it does to you in a long-term test because, hey, we don't have time for that. Industry, the economy, we got to keep that rolling for shareholders and stockholders and stakeholders and all these wealthy people. While you people that are working on the low levels, y'all need to get down there and make us that money. We'll tell you how it affects you 20 or 30 years from now when, well, quite frankly, it's too late. They're coming on the market almost every day, and we need to understand them, he said. Getting to grips with the health effects of these chemicals is going to take a lot of work. We're often trying to understand the impact of chronic exposures to low levels of pollutants, says Ian Mudway. that's a name and a half. I would almost, that almost just sounds made up. Who investigates the health effects of air pollution at Imperial College London in the UK. It's like thinking about cigarette smoking, he says. The cigarette doesn't kill you, but the long-term cumulative effects of toxic load drives forward diseases. Hey, we could find out what the cigarette does to you, but we couldn't go far enough to find out what some of the other chemicals do. Yeah, there's no agenda going on here at all. It's really tricky to work out a person's long-term exposure to chemicals from blood or other body tissues. Most measures will only indicate a person's short-term exposure. Some researchers are working on personal sensors that can monitor a person's exposure to a set of chemicals over time. Personal sensors. I wonder how that's going to work. Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit before. And I can't remember exactly what it was called because it's been years and I'm really behind on my research and keeping up with it. It was some type hydrogel or something, little sensors that they place into your body that will keep a check on your blood and a little chip that will send a signal to your cell phone that's close by, and then your cell phone connected to the internet will send a signal to your doctor. Yeah, hydrogel. I think that's what it was called. It was a DARPA experiment that went and yeah, I need to get back. Give me time, guys. I haven't done this in 3 years. I'm just getting back in the swing of things. And quite frankly, I was studying my Bible, paying more attention to that than anything else, because that's quite frankly the most important thing right now. But I'm trying to get my time set so that I'm doing them both and be able to get with y'all and do both. Exposers of evil, right? Not workers of them. That's what we are. We expose the evil. We tell this to each other, not so we have fear, so that we can see the idiocy of the way that things are going, and that between us all, we can share the ideas of things to help, to clear it out of our bodies, to take care of our bodies. No fear. No fear. This isn't to be scary. This is to let you know, hey, this is what they're talking about. Now they're mentioning it in the public. Something that we've all known for a long time. All of us have talked about different detoxes, all type of different things to do, natural remedies, things to take. And quite frankly, I'm probably healthier than I have ever been in my life. And I still got a ways to go, but the things that I was eating and drinking and living and weighing 300 pounds and always feeling bad, I still feel bad. I'm dealing with the chronic pain. But that's probably a lot from the way I lived my life as a younger man too. Motorcycles, race cars, four-wheelers, trees falling on you, things of that nature. Just it leads to pain later in life. Back to the story. Some researchers are working on personal sensor monitors. That's where we were at. And some of these sensors, such as air quality monitors, are available to buy, but neither Mudway nor Marsh use them. Yeah, they're not going to talk about those that go in the body yet, but we do know they're available because we used to talk about that on DLive. If y'all missed the streams on DLive, I went over tons of scientific material over there every night, and I'm going to get back into that whenever I do get a computer up here running. I've actually started trying to work on a couple today. I've got pieces and parts of 4 of them. Okay, back to... An air quality monitor might tell you about the level of certain particulates. Particulates, how do you like that, man? Yeah. That was a Mike word. When I hear that, I think of Mike still. Yeah, still on my heart, still heavy. Or indicate how much airflow there is in a room. But it won't tell you whether or how these pollutants are getting into your body. That is likely to depend on variables such as your breathing rate, your metabolism, and the amount of skin that's exposed to the air, says Mudway. All of these factors become critically important. Skin exposed to the air. Yeah, and we know what we're dealing with up in the skies. So, I don't know what to say about that because I run around in shorts and a tank top. I'm really probably too old for that at this point. I should probably start dressing like an older fella, but I just can't. It's not comfortable. The more sensitive tests being developed are for the time basis restricted to research labs. Your doctor won't be able to run them. Even if clinics could run exposure tests, it would be difficult to know what to do with the results. As far as we are in the medical industry, they can't tell you what harmful pollutants are doing to your body. They can do laser surgery on your brain. They can replace a heart and have been able to for 40, 50 years, 1960s. Insert pacemakers. But we don't know what pollutants do. No, that's a flat out lie. This is just finally getting out into the public. I mean, all of us know what pollutants do because we've been researching it. And we know for a fact there's a bunch of studies out there on the way these things interact with the body. Where am I at? I'm off track a little bit. Told y'all this was one that kind of fired me up when I was reading it. I mean, I was like, yep, this one's got to be a stream. I'm not making a video of this one. While we're getting better at working out how to measure our exposure to various chemicals, we've got a long way to go understanding how they might affect our health. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing over and over. Our estimates for even relatively well understood pollutants can end up being wrong. We tend to set a safe level, but really it ends up being much lower than that. Hello? We tend to set a safe level. That's what the MSDS sheets and the governments have been doing for a long time. Hey, we're going to set a safe level. But it usually ends up being much lower than that. So anyway, it is what it is, guys. Y'all, we're terribly sorry, but you know, we made mistakes. Let's be clear. They never made mistakes. They were lying for the benefit of industry and economics. Take lead, for example. While the U.S. Center for Disease Creation and Production states that there is no safe level of lead in children's blood, the organization sets a blood lead reference level to help determine when levels are high enough to require medical intervention. They say it's no safe level, but we're going to say in 2012 it was set at 5 micrograms per deciliter of blood, and then the cutoff was lowered to 3.5 micrograms per deciliter in 2021. So, yeah, even though none of it is safe, we're going to set this and they're okay. After more research demonstrated the harmful effects of even low levels of lead on a child's brain, heart, and immune system. As new findings emerge, this cutoff would be lowered even further, says Marcet. It says, though, we're making good progress. Some research teams are focusing on groups of people who are especially vulnerable to disease and trying to work out how chemical exposure might play a role. Others are investigating the effects of specific pollutants in the lab, and tests that measure chemical exposures are improving over time. Perhaps the bigger challenge is to convince polluters to stop pumping so many of these chemicals into our environment in the first place. Now, below this story, there's a couple of other ones that you can click on, and I haven't gotten to them yet, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to check them out, and they will be coming up here soon. There's a complete story about the seabirds. It says we ingest microplastics too. It's a week. A credit card's worth a week. I thought it was a month. I was wrong. By one estimate, so scientists are wondering what they might be doing to our own microbiomes. Yeah, as we know, everybody is having digestive issues, and then you mix that with the electromagnetic frequencies that we deal with on a daily basis, the radio frequencies we deal with on a daily basis, the communication frequencies that we deal with on a daily basis, and it's amazing your stomach can take anything. The human is actually really resilient if you look at everything that they're throwing at us and we keep going. Maybe they've been trying to depopulate for decades and they're like, we just can't get them to die. When it comes to regulating emissions, this is another one. This is beautiful. When it comes to regulating emissions in the U.S., the Environmental Protection Agency has limited powers. These were further diminished last summer when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the EPA did not have the authority to cap carbon emissions, as my colleague Casey Crownhart reported. Of course, only carbon emissions. How about just... Let's see. Okay. Now, here's the ones that I really want to check out and see what they have to say about them, because there's two right here, and I haven't looked at them yet, but they are going to be coming up. It says Casey has also explored technologies that might help us cut down the emissions associated with air travel. And as soon as I read that, I'm like, they're not going to cut down the emissions from air travel. They need those emissions for the weather tampering and for the geoengineering. And then the next article says, unfortunately, reducing air pollution could have unintended consequences for the CC word, change. I think that gets flagged on YouTube for some reason, and you get like a little banner or bar, so I'm trying to avoid it. Research suggests that as we clean up the air, droughts will get even more severe, as my colleague James Temple reported in 2019. And you notice the more that we pollute the air, the bigger the hail gets, and people just act like grapefruit-sized hail is, wow, look, this is the hail that came down in Texas. It's huge. Really? No, it's not huge. It's astronomical. It's something that don't happen. It's happening everywhere. It didn't used to happen. Oh, that's that change. No, that's the bunker fuel and ship tracks and the pollution from the air. That's what's causing that. All of those particulates that they're emitting off of the west coast get sucked into the jet stream, run over here, and then when they start to zap it, we know exactly what happens. That's why they call those particulates ice nucleating materials, and that's why we got big chunks of freaking hail coming down on Texas. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of the story. Well, how about that? And I made it through it. So, I kind of got fired up on that one. I knew I would. That burned me up when I read this story. Just now in 2023, we are looking into what pollution is doing to us. Okay, for the people that catch this, watching it on a replay or watching it now, that is the end of that video. And now we're getting into just talking with you and the chat and things that I want to tell you about the channel and what we're going to do. For any of you that used to follow me on DLive for any amount of time, you know that we prayed at the end of every stream. That is going to continue on live streams at YouTube as well. But I don't put it in the title every time, and I'm not going to, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to just draw in people who already know Christ, who are already living for Christ. I would like to get people in here that don't know Christ and be able to, during the live streams, drop in the gospel like I always have, mix it in with the news stories, exposing the evil of the day, not being a worker of it. And if you put it in the title, it might turn a lot of them people off. Well, if we get them in here and they get interested in the story, then they've got to hear it when I pop it in the middle of the story. So if you don't see prayer requests or prayer in the title, if it's a live stream, it's happening at the end. Now, I may not go through as much time as I do on Sunday nights right now, but here's one thing I did do. Last week in the chat, wow, did y'all have some requests. Last week in the chat, I missed some, and I knew I would, but we know the Father sees them. So what I have done is I went through and I rewatched the chat with the volume down, because y'all know I can't stand listening to myself. And I rewatched and read the chat, and you guys are awesome, by the way. This is the most loving YouTube family that has ever been assembled, and we can only thank Mike for that, because most all of y'all came from Mike. And the love for each other and for Mike and his family has been overwhelming. I have been blown away by the response. Y'all are amazing. Everybody in these chats are just strictly amazing. So, but what I did is I compiled the list. I made it a little neater so I could read it. I took some requests from email. Thank y'all for that. It's absolutely, it was awesome. I'm glad y'all are using it, and I'm trying. If I don't respond right away, give me a day or two. Sometimes with work, other things going on, it does take me a day or two to get to the email. On Sundays, we will read through the entire list. On the weekdays, I will probably just hold up to the list. I also have a list here that is from my local church that a couple of people have said, hey, when you do your prayers, lift us up in prayer there. Because I don't think they're going to join. I do the maintenance for the local church here that we've been going to some, or my son's a member of, and that I kind of visit. I'm still considering myself a member of my home church. But I do the maintenance. They gave me a key. I shared some of the videos and some of the things that I do with a couple of people there, and nobody asked for the key back, so they don't think I'm too nuts. Maybe they didn't go far enough back on the timeline of the videos. Maybe they just saw from Rolling Fork forward. I don't know. Either way, haven't been excommunicated from the Baptist church, even though I grew up Pentecostal and and don't hold back from it in there with them. Oh, I am what I am. You know what I mean? So that's the reasoning on that. If you don't see it in the title, don't think it's not happening. All live streams will end with prayer. We got to lift each other up. That's what's coming in these times. I mean, you look at the things that we just went over here. We all know. If you found me by now, you're not a truther. I'm not waking anybody up. I'm sharing information with truthers for truthers, just to help us realize and see, hey, they're finally showing it to the normies. And yeah, and sometimes I need to get this out a little bit. It's my therapy. Then we get together, we lift each other up, and like I've always said, we love our brother as we love ourselves, but first we love our Father in heaven. Some things I want to tell you before we get into that part of it. When I first said this, I think there was only 4 people watching, and I can't see it perfectly, but I can tell there's more than 4. I now have a Rumble account working. I have uploaded my latest video to it, so if you would, please go over there and watch it and subscribe if you have a Rumble account. That is, I don't really know how to live stream there yet, but when I really start to talk about the things in the air, it's hard to do on YouTube. And honestly, people go, oh, you're going to censor yourself. You just ain't a truther. No, the most important thing I feel for this channel is this last part we do, the prayer, lifting each other up. And I honestly don't want to lose the YouTube channel for something stupid when this is the most important thing that we can do, bringing glory to the kingdom of God. That is the most important thing. So if I go over there and I create a channel and something happens and it gets lost, it just gets lost. This is our prayer group, and that's what I want to keep important. With that being said, some of the things that I talked about in some of my old videos, I'm probably going to rip them old videos, and a lot of those were time sensitive anyway, and nobody's watching them anymore. I may just get rid of them, but the other stuff I will upload to BitChute or Rumble. I do have a BitChute account too, and I realized today after I look back at it after 3 years, it gets viewed more than the YouTube videos. Hey, I got videos over there with 700 or 800 views that had 200 or 300 on YouTube. Imagine that, and I haven't uploaded in 3 years. So I'm going to start using these other platforms as much as I can, and keeping this one so that we have a place to get together. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I went back and was trying to watch some of Mike's videos just to see how he did his forecast, so that I can't do what Mike did, but Mike could run through the map and tell you, hey, it's going to rain on you or it's not. Watch out for these warnings. And I just couldn't get through it right now. So y'all are going to have to give me a little time on that. I could not do it. I couldn't listen to his voice that long without breaking down yet. It's going to take a little time. So that's just me opening up and telling y'all the flat out truth. I don't usually do that with people because, hey, I'm a Mississippi man. We don't show our emotions. I try not to anyway. And that's just, you know, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's just the way it is. So, that's the way it is. So yeah, I want to make sure that we don't lose this for that. Anything else? I know I have a BitChute. Oh, Rare Breeds is mirroring on Odysee. So if you happen to go over to Odysee, I don't know the name of their channel, but I know that Rare Breeds is in the chat. I would like for you to share your Odysee link with the chat, because they are also going to be doing some reporting from Florida at some point in time, live, talking about the things that are going on in the coasts. And they have my full permission to mirror anything that I do over there. I even appreciate it because it just helps get our words out even more and more. So Rare Breeds, if you would please share a link if you can to your channel. If y'all would, go and give Rare Breeds a follow, and let's all just continue to support each other. Oh, what else was there? Is there any more things I needed to clear up before I got done? I'm sure there is, but I really can't think of it right now. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Anyway, if you're interested in the older videos on my YouTube channel, now would probably be a good time to go back and look at them, because even though they haven't hit me with things of the nature, I literally had a video of an airplane you know, with the trail. I didn't speak in it. You know, Mike Decker, he'll give you the date, time. He'll call them traitors and all kind of stuff. I didn't even speak. I just titled it "White Christmas Brought to You by Delta," and I got a hate speech for it. And I challenged it. First video I ever challenged, and I got denied. I asked for a live challenge for it, and I got it's still hate speech. So that happened a year and a half into me not doing anything. And finally, a year after that, they dropped that. So here I am again. But so when people go, "Oh, you're taking your stuff down. You're just not a truther." No, the most important thing is this prayer group and the fact that we get together and can do this. So I'm telling you, there's going to be options for these things in other places, and that's the way that I'd like to keep it. Because YouTube is going to be the most viewed, it's the most used, it's the most mainstream, and it's the one that people are used to, and it's easier to use. So, if you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. That's the only thing that I have come up with that is going to be able to keep us together through this time. And I don't think I said anything in this one that would be that way, so we'll just have to see. And it's hard for me to self-censor. You guys know it is. That's the reason I stayed on DLive so much. So yeah, a lot of my videos will be going away on YouTube. I'll be removing them as I go through them. But now, don't be wrong. I'm going to take a lot of the links and the things that are still alive, and we will reproduce them for YouTube in a manner where hopefully the normies can see it and understand it. And then they can find me over on one of these other channels where I'm blasting what I really think it's about. My opinions. YouTube, my opinions. Anyway, I'm not going. Let me see if I can even see the chat here. Say hello to you guys. Nikki from Texas, Rhonda, Timothy, Rare Breeds, Ryan from North Carolina, Arise and Shine Crafts, Rhonda, Washburn Billy, good to see you, brother. Mad Jeeper. So good to see all you guys. Kirk, Dupsy Daisy, Ruth Greening, Rare Breeds SL, Sandy Ross, Pat Evans, a dog named Boo, Love Pugs, Lynette, Mary Quite. I got yours straightened out today too. I realized I did not have your prayer request wrote down completely right, but I did figure it out and I got it wrote down right. Joe Shields from Boston. Absolutely, Climate Viewer, great place. WeatherModificationHistory.com. All right. Another Rhonda. Cinder Loner. Hey, Cinder Loner. Hey, Cinder Loner. How you doing? SCDHL4. Denise. All you guys, it's great to see you. Look. If you have a request, put it in the chat here. I will be going back through the chat when I have time to actually just sit down and let it play, and we will add it to the list. I will say this: I will call out a couple that we didn't know, just quickly, that I got from outside of the chat. Y'all know Daniel from Logic Before Authority. He actually helped me out before. He has shared some of my stuff, and I noticed on his video that he had an unspoken request. So we want to remember Daniel from Logic Before Authority. Jeremy S. is dealing with chronic back pain. The surgeon says that there's really nothing he can do. He had a car wreck after a spinal fusion. If any of y'all know a good neurosurgeon in the Kansas, Oklahoma, or Missouri area, it would be greatly appreciated to share that information somewhere with the group. If you want to just email it to me at thefalloutshelternews@gmail.com, that will be fine, and I will get that information to Jeremy. Jeremy also has a 10-year-old son who was damaged at birth by the pokey doke. He's homeschooled and doesn't talk, but will say to his dad right now, "Dad, it's okay." That's heartbreaking. It's awesome, but still heartbreaking. Oh, my neighbor has a little girl named Lola. She is adorable. I don't have any little girls, and I love that little girl to death. Oh my gosh. She is so sweet and so adorable. I watch her outside practicing all the stuff that she does. I absolutely just love that little girl. Anyway, she's having some ear problems. She was born a little premature and her ear canals are small. And even though that they say she'll grow out of it, they're trying to stuff tubes down in them and all that. And I actually talked to her mom before we started the stream, and I was like, ask the doctor if she will grow out of it. Is this something she really needs right now? And see what they say to you. Because sometimes they got to answer that. If they go, well, she'll grow out of it, but this would help her, they might not do nothing but harm that little girl's ears. I don't know that. I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving her medical advice. But I told her she should at least ask these questions. She said, I might need you to go to the doctor with us. I said, look, I don't have a problem questioning doctors because what they do is called practicing. If I were to go to a doctor's house and say, hey, I'm a practicing painter, but we'll see how it goes, they wouldn't hire me. Think about that. And then everything else was in the chat and on the thing. We will go over the list in more detail on Sunday night stream and all that. But we will hold this list up and anything that you guys have put in the chat. And yeah, I hope to get this typed up at some point and start doing this really right. Like I said, this all has come together really fast right now, and I had no idea that I would ever even come back on, to be honest with you. There would come a point in time where I didn't have a desire, I didn't have an urge, I didn't have a want to. It just kind of got overwhelming trying to do this and work. Trust me, Mike was a heck of a fella. I wish I had the gumption that Mike Morales had because I just couldn't do it all. So, but now things are changing a little bit, and yeah, so that's how it's going. Anyway, guys, I want you to know I love you all. We're going to go to the Lord in prayer. I want you to remember, I don't have any verses. I don't have my Bible in front of me tonight. I threw this together really quick. But just remember, be exposers of evil, not workers of evil. Don't be scared of any of this information, nothing that I put out. Don't fear it, but understand that we're fighting against the evil, the powers and principalities, the evil wickedness in the spiritual places. And we have to put on that full armor every night, every morning. That's what it's all about. I know sometimes I get animated, but I get so frustrated at the channels, and I'm not going to call any by name, but I get frustrated at them that claim to be helpful when all they do is continually put out fear, scare. Oh my gosh, it's it's bad, it's horrible. We know it's bad and horrible. We don't need to tell each other that all the time, but we need to lift each other up. So that's what we're going to do. All right, well, let's pray. And then after we pray, I'll tell y'all all good night and goodbye, and we'll meet again probably on Saturday and Sunday. I have quite a few things pulled up in the queue that I was wanting to do streams on, and since I found out, I'm literally taking a picture of the page on my phone, then I scroll it up, I take a picture of the page on my phone, and then I plug my camera into the TV and I go through the pictures through the TV so that I can read them like I'm using my computer. It's working, so that's what I'm going to do for right now. But I have quite a few things that I've been wanting to talk to y'all about. I have quite a few patents that I've come across that I'd like to talk to y'all about. And probably over on Rumble, I'll be talking, about the things that we used to talk about a good bit. Now, if I lose that over there, who cares, right? I just don't want to lose this because this is where most of y'all are going to be at. So let's take this list. I'm going to hold this list. I'm going to hold this list. And we're going to pray over them. And pray for all of y'all. Father, we come to you tonight with grateful hearts. We come to you tonight thankful that we have this ability to come together as one body, as one unit, the body of Christ, coming to our Father through the Son, Jesus. Father, we're thankful that we still can come to these platforms and do this. And it's one thing that hasn't got slammed yet. Father, I thank you for blessing these streams. I thank you for the wonderful people that come in. I ask you to be with each one as we go forward throughout the rest of this week into the weekend. I pray that you keep your hand upon them, that you keep them safe, that you help keep the energy strong, that you help them to find the things that they need to protect them from the evil that's going on in this world. That you help us to have the knowledge and the understanding, and Father, that you send the Holy Spirit to give us the wisdom to understand it, to know, to read the things that we eat, to know what we need to do with the water, to know what we need to do to deal with the things that we breathe in from the air to help cleanse our bodies. Father, you will give us these answers if we look and seek for them. And I ask you, Father, please help us to find them, share them, and to make your body stronger to fight the evil that we see. Father, I pray that you give us the strength to expose this evil, the knowledge to expose this evil, and the wisdom to expose this evil. And Father, the people that are perpetuating this evil, I pray that you put it on their heart to let them know what they're doing, one at a time if that's what it takes, and help them to change their ways. We thank you for all that. We ask you to help us to put that full armor on that you give to us every day, to help us take the fiery darts that the devil throws at us, to grab them and throw them back, and the power to speak boldly the things of the gospel of your Son, Jesus. Father, all the names on these lists right here have some type of thing going on in their life where they need comfort, healing, support, strength. I ask you to send the Holy Spirit to each and every one of them and to answer that prayer in whatever is in your will, Father. Father, if it's in your will for divine healing, we ask you for that divine healing. We ask you for the strength and support for the people who are alone. We ask you for the strength and the support for the people who have lost loved ones. We ask you for the strength and the support for everybody on this list, for every trouble that they're going through, for everything that everybody on this list deals with. We know that you are the ultimate healer, supporter, Father to all of us in the end. We lift each and every name up to you, and we just ask you that you will hear these prayers, answer these prayers, and support and comfort everyone on this list through this time. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Now on Sunday, we'll read through that and actually go through what's going on. I will go back through the chat in case somebody types something tonight. I do take the email version of it. And yeah, that's about it. A lot of and does. I kind of got out of that at one point in time, but I think it'll get better over time as we move forward. Like I said, this is back new for me, really. I'm completely fresh starting over, and it took me quite a few years to get comfortable with it the first time. And I used to put my face in a little tiny box in the corner because I could squeeze it real small using OBS. And now I'm stuck here looking at my grill on a phone, and quite frankly, it kind of freaks me out. I'm not used to it and don't like it. So I have to pray for strength before I ever even start these things. And I try, and look, I've got it at a little bit of an angle to me so I don't actually have to look at it. That is a big help. Once again, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, the GoFundMe link for Mike and Shelly Morales is in the description. I'm going to try to put it in the description of all the live streams. I don't get it in all of the little videos, but I'm going to try to get it in the live streams. I'm going to tell you, look, I know a lot of you are in no way in a place to help, and that's okay. Prayers are always accepted. The family has been more than overjoyed at the outpouring of love that you guys have shown. If you don't believe it, go look at some of the comments they've left. Remember to pray for Shelly, Jess, and Thomas. They buried their husband and father just yesterday. And we actually had a comment. One of the subscribers to our channel went and to the funeral and come back and said it was an absolutely beautiful service. And the theme was armor up. What could be more fitting? I'm going to break down and cry right now. I don't want to. It couldn't have been more fitting. I would have given anything if I could have went, but it just was not in the cards at the time. There was no possible way to go, and I wanted to so bad. If the family's watching and they've seen my response to their comments, if there's anything I can do for you that I can plan for, please just let me know. I would be glad to. I could ramble on for a while, but I'm not going to. There's probably other news streams going on where y'all can go hear the crazy things that's killing the world. Go check out the history of the world reserve currency. It will help you understand a lot of what's going on with the banks right now. I didn't get into that in a whole lot of detail because I don't have the information for it right now. But a lot of banks are falling. Their stocks are falling. They're going down. It's going down for real, literally. And we all know what that is part of. They've got to conglomerate all of this into a central bank before they can instill the central digital bank currency. I got a comment because I said something about the central digital bank currency. Yes, it will absolutely track everything that you do and every moment, but they can already do that with a credit card. And somebody said, yeah, well, you're saying join the B system. I'd rather die. Okay, this is my opinion. My opinion is if you have a bank account or a debit card or fast pay on your telephone, if you've ever had a bank account or used currency, you are already using the beast system. It will come a time when there will be a mark of the beast, and you alone will be the one that has to make the decision, is it the mark? So if you think I'm telling you to join the beast system, I'm horribly sorry. You're already in it. That's my opinion. And actually that's the opinion of a lot of scholarly people that I have talked to on the subject anyway. So I'm not mad at you for the comment at all. And I'm sure you're probably not watching anymore. But if you say you'd rather die than be part of the beast system, you better be trading with people. You better be growing everything. You better not have to pay for your housing. You better not have to have a bank account, because if you do, you're part of that system. We all are. We're born into it, and there's nothing we can do about it except for not take the mark and when it's over. Okay. That's it. I've done rambling. I'm going to do this more often. I hope to be able to start doing live streams on YouTube every other night, every night, whatever it takes to get back in the swing of this, get us together some, and we'll just see how that goes. But anyway, Victoria Cunningham, good to see you. Much love to you. Much love, Cinder Loner. Much love, Rare Breeds. Much love, Mad Jeeper. Much love, Nikki. Much love, Rhonda. Hugs and chocolate to the room. The mods in the Fallout. Well, hugs and chocolate back to you. I did see something. Oh, you mentioned chocolate. I seen something the other day. I have started kind of watching this outdoor channel. Oh my gosh, Rare Breeds, I think, knows the name of it. It's outdoors with somebody. They grow these farming things. I don't even remember the name of it all the way. Anyway, they're off grid living with something and Stacy, I think. Anyway, they've noticed what's going on in the sky and they've started posting about it. I'm like, y'all better be careful. Y'all got that monetized channel. But they have this stuff that's naturally grown chocolate that they make chocolate tea out of. And I was looking at that thinking, wow, that looks good. Because, dark chocolate is actually good for you in its pure form before we confection it all up with sugars. And I was like, and I like dark chocolate. I like the bitter chocolate. So I was like, that actually looks great. I'm going to have to try some of that and tell y'all how it is. Something else I want to do here is find good foods and show you good foods. Oh, Joe Shields from Boston, Timothy Graff, all of you guys. Haha. Well, that's, Kenley, I'm going to say that's actually not a Stone Temple Pilots t-shirt. I'm a gearhead. It's scientifically treated petroleum products. STP was one of the first things you could get for racing. I grew up driving dirt late models through the 90s. And yeah, so I get that a lot though. Hey, Stone Temple Pilots. I'm like, no, scientifically treated petroleum products. Oh, Love Pugs, John McMullen, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. That's it. Arise and Shine Craft, Sandy L. Ross. Hey, look, good night to all of you. I love you with all of my heart. I'm so glad you all joined me. And look, main thing, before I click this button off, love God, love your neighbor, and love yourself. I'll see you all again real soon.